everyone, welcome to the new episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. Today's guest joins me from Costa Mesa, California. He's good friends with the previous On That Note guest, Delta Dagger, and he's got a new EP out called Forgetting All of My Passwords. Please welcome the Judd Zingle Project. What's up, man? You got a nice setup there.
Thanks. Yeah, I tried to get it all hooked up for this. It's my first time using kind of this mic setup for Zoom. So,
All right. Well, Aidan Dansey from the Judd Zingle Project, thank you for coming on and chatting with me. I appreciate it.
of course, thanks for having me.
There it is. There's that noise I was telling you about. Oh, that's them taking out all the recycling. That's all the bottles
No.
jingling around. Judd Zingle, I found out about you because of Delta Dagger, who I had on last week. And John is such a sweetheart. I love that you guys work together on your project, Count to Four. How did you get to know John, and what made you guys work on this together?
So I knew John in college. We weren't really good friends, but he was in a band called Savage Henry that performed, almost every week, and we'd go to see them play. And so we knew each other in college, but actually didn't really connect until after we both graduated, and he recently moved down to Newport, which is close by me here in Costa Mesa, and we started chatting and just wanted to do some collab stuff on some music things, and then that cover song that I did was part of a project for our other buddy's music website and kind of music label called Redefining Records. And there's kind of a group of us in there that all make our own music. And Andrew Schultz, the man behind Redefining Records, kind of came up with this idea of each doing a cover song of each other's music. So I chose John's Count to Four, and that was a super fun one to work on.
That's so cool. Yeah, Andrew messaged me on his Redefining Records. I didn't know that he put that kind of thing on. That's really cool. Shout out to Andrew at Redefining Records.
No, definitely.
It's a great podcast. And yeah, you did that one. That must have been really cool.
Yeah, I did that podcast too. That was fun. I think that was one of the first ones he did. So it was a little rusty on my end, but it was super fun.
Oh, that's all good, man. It's all a learning process. So for Count to Four, when you were you working with John, like with Delta Dagger?
So John sent me over kind of just the basic chords of that song. But for that Count to Four cover, that was just on my end doing that one. I got the chords from John and then kind of just reworked the song from start to finish. Kind of just came up with my own drum loop for that one and tried to just kind of take the song in a different direction.
How did you work on the fact that you know this song already and it's your friend? How did you go about making sure that you honored his version but still made it your own?
No, definitely. Yeah, John's version of the song is super great. And John is a much better guitar player than I am. He just shreds on guitar, and so I kind of stayed out of the way on that front. And I guess I made this song a little bit more, a little slower, a little more Mac DeMarco-y. Kind of tried to keep it as simple as I could, and just kind of slowed it down with just very basic like chord progressions and melodies on that one to kind of just maintain the awesomeness of that track.
Did John hear it at all before it actually got published? Did you let him hear it?
He didn't actually. No. That was one of the cool things about that project in general, that none of us heard each other's covers of the songs until they were published. So it was awesome to see what what people were doing with it. And that whole process probably took about 2 weeks. It was kind of a hard deadline of 2 weeks. So
Whoa.
Andrew really wanted to stress just throwing these songs together, and just have a strict deadline on that to just force us to throw something down.
That's cool. I feel like if you have a loose deadline, you're a lot less likely to get it done.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you put out your newest EP, Forgetting All My Passwords, 2 months
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been listening to it a lot the last couple of days and taking it in. It really gives me like LCD Soundsystem plus Morrissey vibes.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
What were some of your major influences going into this? What were you listening to while you were making this record?
Definitely. So that EP, I was definitely influenced, yeah, heavily by LCD Sound System. That first title track, "Forgetting All My Passwords," was kind of um, an experiment that I did probably 3 years ago. I wanted to create a kind of driving synth line similar to LCD's style, but I wanted to do it in a 6/4 timing. So um, kind of different there, and that was kind of the original experiment, and it kind of created this um, kind of disorienting and kind of confusing um, rhythm to it that I really liked. And also Metronomy. I'm not sure if you've heard of Metronomy, but
Yeah.
Metronomy is super awesome, and that was definitely an influence for me on that one, just in terms of the dry sounding drums and just kind of very little reverb on everything, and more kind of disco-y style to it. So Metronomy and LCD Sound System, I was listening to a lot of when I was making that. But that first track, "Forgetting All My Passwords," I actually made probably 3 years ago. I did a version of that, and I originally put it out, and my production skills were less than par that long ago, and I just wasn't really happy on how the sound of it turned out. I really liked the song, but I definitely wanted to rework it. So this year, I kind of just started from scratch on it and remade every single part.
Was there any part of that process that you were like, when you were redoing it, where it felt hard to recreate some of those parts originally? Because there's times when I love a song that I'm working on and then I don't come back to it for like, 4 months. And then I'm like, well, I still like the song, but I could re-record it better. And then it doesn't necessarily hit as hard. Did you go through that process?
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. There's definitely some parts in there I that were in the original recording, and I just strayed away from entirely. Um, and it's always funny going back to rework tracks because I hear them, and I honestly just don't know what I originally did for them. So it's a lot of relearning synth melodies and guitar
Mm-hmm.
parts and bass lines, and it was a slow process in that aspect for sure. But also fun too to just totally switch up some things, and just make it sound better as a whole. Yeah.
What synths are you using? Because they always sound so good.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, recently I finally pulled the plug on a Juno 106.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
That's my I got that one this year. Before I was using this other synth I have. It's a digital synth. It's a Roland JDXI. It's a digital analog kind of crossover synth, and it gets the job done for sure. It's more preset based though, and you can't really get into the specific tones of that one. And I've been looking at buying a Juno for a very long time, and yeah, finally pulled the plug on it. and that's what I've been using on most of my things now. And that thing is hard to make sound bad, to be honest. And it's very straightforward, really easy to use. And so yeah, I've been obsessed with that thing.
Yeah, congratulations on your
Thanks,
new
man.
baby.
That's my new baby. Yeah.
It's such a great feeling when you get a new piece of gear that you can just spend days toying with, and it's almost like that new piece of gear like brings along new inspirations of what you can make now.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely feel that. Yeah.
You don't want to like go too overboard and like constantly buy things though, so so that you come up with
Exactly.
inspiration.
Exactly. Yeah. I try to refrain on that sense. I try to limit myself, limit the tools I have.
So did you approach this new EP any differently than the way you approached other projects, like writing process differently, or maybe something different about the recording process?
Yeah, I'd say overall I really tried to keep it simple. That was kind of the mantra of that project. And oftentimes I feel like I add too many layers and things get very cluttered and muddy. And I really tried to limit myself to a certain amount of tracks that I had down there, and really concentrate on making each instrument sound um, really good in itself. So that was kind of my philosophy with that EP, was just keeping it really simple, um, and making each instrument sound as good as it could get together as a whole, which I think really helped, and just helped kind of put me in a box and limit the amount of possibilities that I could do with it. So yeah, that was kind of changing it up for me on that aspect with this EP.
It's funny. I feel like giving yourself limitations almost gives you more freedom to work on something. It's like if you have too many options or not a clear idea of what you want, then you're going to end up being pulled in all directions and spread thin. Whereas if you say like that's interesting, your first track, you said I want it to be kind of like LCD sound system, but in 6/8 timing. Well, now you have a pretty solid foundation to start with and be creative from, instead of just being like, oh, I want to make a song today that has a synth in it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think each one of those songs actually kind of started from that concept. Like the song "What Does It Mean" started from.
Which gives me very strong cake vibes, by the
Oh,
way.
nice, nice. I appreciate that. That one started from literally just throwing on a metronome and grabbing some cowbells and laying down some cowbell hits, and that was kind of the basis of that song, was trying to create a rhythm and beat through these cowbells. So I had the bells laid down, and then added a super simple kick and snare and a shaker, and that was kind of the base of that song. And then I just picked up a bass and started jamming over that rhythm, and kind of found this very disco-y, kind of funky bass line, and that was kind of the skeleton of that song at that point.
Yeah, it's so groovy. I love that song.
Thanks, man.
All right, well, let's go over to the last five here. I'm just going to ask you five quick questions and we'll be out of here.
For sure, sounds good.
All right, Aiden, in the studio or playing live?
Right now, I'd have to go with playing live, because I honestly have not had too much of an opportunity to play live. I've only done a few gigs. So if and when things open up, definitely going with playing live.
Yeah, everybody's itching to get back out there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, question number two is what's the next piece of equipment on your wish list?
Oh, um, for me, probably I kind of have most things that I need right now. Um, Next piece of gear would probably be a set of Fender noiseless pickups for my Strat that I have, because my room here in Costa Mesa gets a lot of electromagnetic interference
Oh, whoa.
coming into my Strat, so I can never get a clean recording of my guitar. There's always just a bunch of noise in it, which is super, super frustrating. So I I want to invest in a set of those noiseless pickups. Actually, John from Delta Dagger brought over his Strat with noiseless pickups the other day, and it is as clean as it gets in my room, which is awesome. So that's probably the next purchase for me.
That's a very practical purchase.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things like, I could get a new phaser pedal, or I could actually get something that will help my production considerably.
Exactly. Yeah, with the pedals, you can get so carried away on. I really try to limit myself with those. I think I only have like four, four or five, but
That's great.
yeah, can easily get carried away with those for sure.
I went down the Earthquaker rabbit hole
Oh,
and got
nice.
like five, which was too many, and was starting to like slowly sell some, but
That's sick, man. Yeah, I heard those are great pedals.
they definitely are. I really love the company. Like, they're so innovative, and
Yeah,
they're always putting out weird shit, and
yeah,
just the design of them is also really cool.
nice.
I was looking through your Spotify photos, and I was like, I think we have the same guitar. So I had to double
Oh
check.
my god. Oh no way. Oh,
Do
that's
you have
rad.
this exact guitar?
I have similar to that. I've got a Guild semi-hollow guitar.
Hmm.
It looks very, very similar. I have it right here actually. Let me
Yeah. Do
grab
you
it.
know what year it is?
I don't actually.
Because they look like they could be like a year apart.
This
Okay, they
guy.
do look a little different,
Um
but
yeah,
it's like the
this one I
same.
got in high school. I was in the the high school jazz band. I played guitar there, and got this guy, and I love it. I love it. Super nice guitar.
I love a hollow body. I actually got a Mustang because I like really always wanted like a rock and roll guitar, not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this hollow body jazz feel. And I still probably use the Guild more anyway, just because I don't know,
Sounds so
something about
good.
hollow body. It can get jazzy and low key, but then you can also rock out on it too.
Hmm. No, definitely. I feel like I'm a very rhythmic guitar player too. I play more chords than I do play melodies and lead guitar lines. So that semi hollow really fits that style.
Yeah, same here. Actually, that is probably why. I didn't even think of that.
That's rad.
All
Yeah.
right, question number 3. What's on your musical rotation right now?
Um, on my musical rotation, I've been listening to a lot of Wunderbar.
I know the name.
They're a kind of punk band out of Boston. Um, super awesome. I've been listening to a lot of definitely Metronomy. Metronomy is always in rotation.
I know the
Interwave.
one Oh, dude, Interwave. Don't get me started.
Interwave's great. Yeah, I saw them live a few years ago at the observatory here, and they just totally blew me away. They're amazing, and the way they incorporate, synthesizers into their live set is super inspiring. And they almost have a kind of Strokes
Mm-hmm.
vocal style to them too, which is super awesome. Yeah, so Interwave definitely. And then what else? I've been listening to a lot of Kevin Morby.
Oh, he just
Um,
put out a new album,
yeah, he
right?
just put out a new album, and it's weird because I generally don't listen to that much kind of folkier music. And I'd say he definitely is, more folky. But yeah, I've been really digging Kevin Morby recently, and that new album in particular, that song Campfire is really solid.
Nice. I'll listen to it
Yeah.
because I've seen like one of the music videos from the new album, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, super cool stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned Interwave, man. Like, they are such a
Yeah.
huge band for me. I got to see them at Tropicalia
Oh,
Festival
no way.
last year. Yeah, and they like blew me away. I've loved them for like a few years now. So getting to see them live was was awesome. You wouldn't even know that they were playing in like the middle of the day. They were playing
Yeah,
like they were the headliners.
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I would love to see them again.
Yeah, the dream is to get them on this podcast. So I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there. If anybody knows any way can get me
Al-
in.
Yeah. Also, Tropicalia, that festival looked pretty awesome. Had a lot of artists that I wish I could see there.
It was the best lineup I've ever seen. And like
Really?
personally for me, everybody, I got to see like every band I've wanted to see the last
Yeah.
couple of years all in one day.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fantastic to say the least.
Yeah. They had it all, didn't they? Yeah. All of the Mac DeMarco-y,
Right.
in indie rock, surf rock bands were there, which
Exactly.
was awesome. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, question 4,
Yeah.
who is your dream artist or producer to work with?
Hmm. Honestly, I don't know too many producers offhand, but I'm gonna go with James Murphy of LCD Soundsystem. He's an amazing just sound engineer, and I know he works on a lot of different projects. He worked with Arcade Fire, um, and yeah, I'd have to go with him. I've kind of had a set obsession with LCD Sound System and James Murphy's, you know, DIY approach for a while. So yeah, I'm gonna go with him on that one.
I think that's a good call. You guys would definitely do well together. I was talking with another artist, local opener,
Yeah,
about James Murphy, and he was just
yeah,
like blown away by the fact that he got into music like way, way late in his life.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
there's no reason
Crazy.
to think that, your time is washed up. It's like this dude
Yep.
was old and he got into it and he still created music that young people are inspired by.
Insane, right? Yeah. Super cool. If you ever talk to Andrew Schultz from Redefining Records, ask him about his email to James Murphy. He's got a great story on that one.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
just I'll just leave it at that. That's a funny story.
I love that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to ask him. From Andrew Schultz from Redefining Records, giving him another
Yes.
shout out.
Yeah. Yeah. Another shout out there.
All right, man. Last question here, and then we'll be out. What do you think is a perfect album front to back?
Oh man. So I was recently on John's podcast, and we did a review of
The Drinking Game podcast?
the Drinking Game
I'm doing it
podcast.
tonight,
Oh,
dude.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. And I chose the album Lonesome Crowded West, Modest Mouse's first album. And from start to finish, I think that is just a great album. There's, a lot of kind of punk influence in that, and then also very, you know, pretty sounding vocal melodies, and then back to screaming, and then
Yeah.
um, touches on a little almost like metal, I would say. It covers a lot of ground, but it's the most kind of vulnerable and authentic sounding album I've heard. And Isaac Brock of Modest Mouse is just an incredible lyricist too. So I'm gonna have to go with that one. I'm waiting to. I'm not really a vinyl nerd. My dad's got a record player, and I'll buy an album here and there. But that's one I would definitely purchase just because start to finish, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's funny because I was talking with him about that exact podcast. He was like, "Oh yeah, my
Yeah,
friend came on and he was telling me about Lonesome Crowded West." So I went and listened to it. I didn't finish it. It's so long. I was pretty
yeah, it's a
shocked.
long album, a lot of long songs too. All of their songs are like 4 to 6 or 7 minutes long.
Yeah, it was not what I was expecting. And I mean, I only know Float On by
Yeah, yeah,
Modest
yeah.
Mouse and like Dramamine, which is a great song. But I had never listened to that album, and the first song was sick. And but it definitely sounded like what would be the first song to an insane album, like where it just
Exactly.
goes in all these
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
directions.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely check that out. Definitely check out that record for sure. It's a good one. And then also check out they've got a mini doc on about the making of that record on YouTube done by Pitchfork, and it came out a while ago. I want to say in like 2013 or something. But super interesting, kind of learning about the history of that record too, and just the history of that band. You know, they started just
Hmm.
so young, and just got in a van and started touring, um, and just grinded it out. So yeah, they're super inspiring for sure.
I love a good music documentary. Those are always fun.
Yeah, yeah.
The album I'm gonna choose for John's podcast tonight is "In Rainbows" by Radiohead.
Oh, nice, nice. That's a classic one.
Do you have any tips for me before I go on? Anything to
Any
expect?
tips?
Yeah, don't spoil it for me, but any tips
Um,
for sure.
maybe pace yourself with the drinking if you're gonna drink.
Yeah,
Um, I felt like I was kind of cranked by the end of it. So, but yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, John's super easy to talk to, and great concept for a podcast.
yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, it gives you an excuse to just dive into some history of an album too, which was fun to do.
That's so cool. Yeah, when he told me that, I was like, I'm game, 100%. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man. Stoked for you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, Aidan from the Judd Zingle Project, thank you for coming on and talking about your music, the process, and all that good stuff. And I'm glad that we kind of got to meet via John from Delta Dagger.
Definitely.
I'm excited to do the podcast. I'll let you know how it goes. And like I said, thank you again for coming on, man.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Dude, of course.
Cool.
Love to have you on again.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
See you, Aidan.
Bye.
Bye.
Like the